Hey, good morning, Georgia. It's always great to be here with you on Thursday morning for Community Focus. Faith, we've been spending a lot of time along the eastern border of Georgia. We were in Elberton a few weeks ago and Hartwell. And where are we going today?
Today we're in Lincolnton, right there on the line, right there. They share the lake with South Carolina.
Yeah, so I mean, folks have heard of Lake Lanier, of course, and maybe you've heard of Lake Hartwell, but there's a hidden gem over there, right, Christine?
That's right.
Yeah, Christine
Clark.
McNeese is with us, and she's actually on the lake. Hey, can you give us a little shot of that lake right there, Christine?
I sure can. Can you see
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Look at that,
Way.
Clark Hill Lake, and we're going to hear in a minute about a snake story from her. James Marlowe's with us. He's our clean energy guest. James, you grew up water skiing out there, right?
Yes, I love Lincolnton and Lincoln County and my home on Soap Creek and Glaze Evolution. I'm a Dawkins and a Glaze and always love anything about Lincolnton, of course.
Yeah, so James is a Red Devil, Lincoln County Red Devil, so we may hear a little bit about that. Wendy, you're the chamber chairperson, chairwoman, so it's great to have you on today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Commissioner Eccles, and thank you, Faith.
Yeah, so you're a fan of the lake too, Wendy. You ever
Yes.
get out there on that lake?
This is a lake county. It's basically, we only share landmass with Washington, Georgia. So we're basically a peninsula. It's surrounded 600 miles of shoreline, freshwater shoreline, just Lincoln County. So
Wow.
we are a lake town.
Wow.
That's pretty
Well,
unique,
that's great.
isn't it?
It is.
Very.
But we're not that close to I-20. We're about 20 minutes away from I-20. So it's not a drive-through town. It's more of a happen upon. And anyone who happens upon it loves it, wants to stay, buy land, and build. So it's a gem.
Yeah, we also have Richard Butler is going to be with us, and he's with Comfort in the Storm. And Richard's going to be talking about our ending human trafficking, and that's one of the features that we do. Richard, it's good to see you today.
Good to see you as well. Thank you.
Yeah, stand by. Well, let's move everyone to the green room except for James. James, you were instrumental in Radiant Solar. You now are going to be running South Face. So that is an organization that I deal with a lot, and they have enormous respect. Tell our audience a little bit about what South Face does.
Well, South Face Institute is an energy sustainability nonprofit. We have a team of highly technical people that work on reducing energy use and conservation, the built environment. We work like Tim as a leader in electric vehicles and mobility. We work with Clean Cities of Georgia, which is hosted under the South Face umbrella. As my mother said, we have a big agenda. We want to do a lot. We work with nonprofits to help them reduce their energy use and cost, and have helped groups like the Boys and Girls Club and the Salvation Army literally reduce their energy costs hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And they can, of course, take that money and put it into programming and helping kids and fulfilling their mission. So it's just a wonderful organization. If you don't know much about it, I'd encourage you to look at southface.org and get to know us and see if there might be something that we could work together on.
James, let me ask you about solar. It's going everywhere in Georgia. Has Lincoln County gotten their share of it?
Well, there are a number of solar installations in Lincolnton. The largest would be in the industrial park, right near behind what a Lincoln County would know as the old Mayfair Mills facility. It is a ground-mounted Georgia Power array. It'll power about 220 of the homes in Lincolnton. It's about 5 acres of land, and it's easy to go drive by and look at. If you want to see a ground-mounted solar array in Lincoln, it's really easy to do that. I had solar on my home on Soap Creek since around 2008, and it worked great. It did everything it would need to do. I worked with Rail EMC, which has been great to work with. The largest array in the CSRA would be at Fort Gordon, which is a very large Department of Defense facility, giving the base resiliency and energy savings, which is owned and operated by Georgia Power. There's another ground-mounted array between Lincolnton and Thompson, kind of right near the new fire station there on the left. You can kind of see it in the woods there. You can see it very easily on Google Earth. But solar is a part of Lincoln County, and there is an opportunity for people to add solar to their homes and batteries and electric vehicles to have more resiliency, to control their energy, and that appeals to a very large number of people.
James, how far is Fort Gordon from Lincolnton?
It's about 45 minutes. So Augusta, Lincolnton is really halfway between Augusta and Athens. So about 60 minutes to Athens and about 45 minutes to Augusta. But Fort Gordon is a tremendous opportunity for Lincolnton because Cyber Command is moving there. They're hiring, I think, 20,000 employees. I'm sure Christine and Wendy could give you a more current update, but NSA has about 7,000 employees. The Savannah River site, the medical complex in Augusta. So Lincolnton is really seeing a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity because of a great quality of life and an absolute terrific place to be from and grow up in.
James, maybe there's folks that are interested in doing solar on their home. You've helped thousands do that. What are some questions that you would ask to a homeowner or landowner if they came to you and said, "Hey, I think I want to do solar"?
Well, I think you need to understand your goals. I mean, how long you plan to be in the home. Are you interested in energy storage? Are you interested in an electric vehicle? A lot of people have an interest in all those. There's really a big convergence happening with those three technologies. And the new Ford F-150 Lightning pickup, I believe, will be the tipping point vehicle for electric transportation. It's a work truck. You can run equipment in the field. It's a great trip if you like camping and outdoor activities or tailgating. And I think that vehicle is going to be very, very popular. And as people look at electric transportation, they're going to say, well, what if we powered this with clean solar energy? What if we put a battery like a Tesla Powerwall or a Sonnen battery to have a little bit of resiliency and backup in the case of an ice storm or a wind event?
Yeah, James, just one more question. I know one of the Atlanta TV stations did a consumer piece this week on some of the out-of-state companies coming in here that I kind of characterize them as scoundrels, but there's a lot of bait and switch with some of these marketing companies. Have you been concerned about the plethora of companies coming into Georgia trying to sell people solar, or maybe in a way that doesn't make sense?
Well, the first thing I would say is I'd recommend you work with a Georgia company. So people that live here, work here, and participating with a Georgia company. We've got some great companies. I recommend Montana Bush and AES very often for residential systems. Certainly Velo Solar, Radiant Solar. There are many great companies doing commercial and utility scale solar, but work with a local company and you're probably going to have a really great experience. But there are companies that come in from out of state and they don't really understand the policies here as well, and they sometimes mislead people. I mean, I see, ads on social media with lots of false claims, and every industry has those actors, and they're a very small percentage of solar. And by working with a local company, that would be the first and foremost recommendation I would give you.
Yeah, I know. I have a Creative Solar USA put solar on my house in Houston. I know that Solar Sun World, which is out of Eatonton, they recently have gotten the contract for the Marine Science Center. James, you and I have worked with the Marine Science Center down on Tybee, and then I saw where Better Tomorrow Solar, a Decatur-based company, had written, female-owned company. She wrote an op-ed recently just about this whole concern. So I agree with you. I think, why go with some South Carolina company or some other company when we've got fantastic companies in Georgia? I would just say get a couple of quotes, right?
I mean, the companies you just mentioned are all friends of mine. They're very professional people. They want to do a great job. They care about their installs. So I think the first and foremost is work local. I do think that some of this is propaganda and people that don't understand solar and you know, it's misinformation and disinformation, but there are a lot of successful solar projects in Lincoln County today, both residential, like my home there on Soap Creek, a commercial Georgia Power project there in the Development Authority's commercial complex, and then Fort Gordon. So I think those are pretty good examples.
James, thanks so much for your leadership at Southface. I know you are the right person for the job, and I can't wait to see, to see how you lead the organization.
Well, thank you, Tim. Faye, thank you. Christine, Wendy, thanks for all that you're doing. Look forward to talking further. If I can help anyone in any way, I hope you'll reach out to me. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, James. Have a
Thanks
great day, great weekend. Yeah, thanks. Hey, Christine, you were telling me earlier that, that you had a little snake issue one time when you were out on a raft. How scary is that?
Well, it wasn't fun, I'll tell you that. I was out with one of my 8-year-olds we had 2 separate rafts, but man, that snake was coming from the shoreline. It was a big black snake. Good snake. There are good snakes,
No.
I promise.
No, there's not.
There are some good snakes, but they think those rafts are little islands to rest as they're crossing the lake. And I was trying to be really on the down low about it, pushing my daughter towards the dock to the steps because she's just like Faith. Snakes are not her thing. But then another person from the dock got up and yelled, "Snake, snake!" And so then I was trying to push the snake away and trying to push her to the dock. It was quite entertaining, and I'm sure a story we'll have forever. But
Wow.
It was fun. It's part of the lake. You just got to learn how to live with it.
There's only
Or
two
not.
things that sound worse than that: an alligator coming toward me and a shark. So,
I think I'd rather take either than a
Yeah.
snake.
yeah. Well, Christine, you heard James mentioning about the solar array in the park. You get a lot of comments on that.
Yeah, folks are, very inquisitive, especially with all the growth that we're seeing in residential homes here. We had 80 new home starts last year alone. Folks are trying to figure out how to capitalize on some of that solar energy. So I think it is a big part. I mean, we have wide open spaces here in Lincoln County. It's not like we're bumper to bumper or housetop to housetop here. So you definitely have this great sunshine. You can see it shining on my face today, that we can harness and use, even more effectively than we do today.
So, some towns, have a little green space. Savannah has the squares, but Lincolnton has the lake. I mean, is that the go-to recreation for everybody, in the county and the city pretty much?
Yeah, I would say the lake is definitely the biggest draw, not only for people that live here, but for tourism as a whole. The other biggest draw here is our football. Friday night football is huge in Lincoln County. The community really comes together around the football team. Everybody's in the stands together, yelling and cheering. And, it's just coming from Atlanta, it's just not the same. Out here, it really is a community and everybody has got each other's back no matter the situation. So green spaces of the lake, and then of course all the farms and lumber milling that we have here, but it's just wide open and you need to come.
I need to come out for a tour. I was out at the IBEW Lake House at the lake not too awfully long ago, speaking to union members. One of the groups that I work with is a building trades construction union, Plant Vogel and IBEW. So have a little lake. It's not just a lake house; it's almost like a little park they own out there on a peninsula.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So just the last question for you, and we're going to bring Wendy into the conversation. What are some of the projects that are in the works for the county and the city right now?
Right. So I've recently come into the position, after 30 years in corporate America. And what I saw moving here permanently was that we had a strong need for more community quality of life activities and spaces. So the goal is to combine our alliance with Fort Gordon and the cyber security centers, maybe data centers, along with new electric charging stations. I'm not sure that we even have one in Lincoln County yet, but it's on my docket to add. Yeah. And then, combining that with additional retail to support our tourism, because honestly, that is our largest draw to the county is tourism. And Wendy's probably going to talk about it, but even this weekend, we have a huge rock swap and dig at Graves Mountain. People from all over the country are coming to dig for rutile, quartz, all kinds of things on our mountain that a lot of people don't know about, but those that are in the rock world, they know about it, and they're coming this weekend. So it's going to be great.
Wendy, what's this about rocks? I haven't heard anything about this.
About twice a year, Graves Mountain will open it up to the public, that the public can actually dig for these gemstones that you can find, and whatever you find, you get to keep. And rutile is one of those very rare black quartz, and this is one of the main places you can get it. And Germany seeks it. You have people all over the world that will come, and it is they make their jewelry out of it. They make different things out of it. And it's just, it's a draw, but it's on an inactive volcano area. And matter of fact, that was also the same site that if you've seen the movie, Chris Pratt's movie, Tomorrow is War, that was the scene of the alien planet that they filmed it here.
Wow.
Yeah. We actually
I didn't know you had a mountain. I did not know it was an inactive volcano.
Yep.
And I didn't know that you had international rock digs. I'm learning so much.
And we just had Chris Evans come out for the second filming for an upcoming movie. So they're on the mountain as well.
We try to be really nice and not bother the movie stars, but they're welcome.
I have the same problem. I live just outside of Covington, and we have movie stars in Covington all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just wait from a distance.
Yeah, if y'all are doing movies, we definitely got to get you some EV chargers out there. There are like Trilith Studios. They've got like 30 of them down there, because a lot of these Hollywood types will rent a Tesla when they come in. Right? So driving a Tesla to Lincolnton, we need to have a place where they can charge.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
My landlord is a city pharmacy, and he recently put solar panels on his roof. He's right next door, and he has an electric vehicle. He drives to and from Augusta every day. He and his wife are both pharmacists, and they have an electric charging station they had installed. So it's off of solar and then has the charging station right here.
Great.
Oh, look at that.
I don't know if
There is
there's
one.
in public using it yet, but
There is one
That's
in
what I was
Lincoln
gonna say.
County.
Yeah. Not sure if it's public, but yeah.
that's not, he has it hidden.
What you need at a charger is you need something to eat, drink, and you need a restroom. So those are the things that we're looking for on these sites. So if you do have a place, maybe downtown,
I do.
that would be the logical place. That would be, that would have a parking space that could be painted green, because you've got to save parking space. You don't want an F-250 King Ranch sitting over there. Faith, you know how I feel about that. So
We do. I have two spots, one in town and one at the gateway to our county from Columbia County, coming from Fort Gordon. So those are my target areas, Commissioner.
I think we can help you with that.
I would love that help.
I think we can help you. Well, Christine, thanks for being
Thank
on today.
Thanks, Christine.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you, Christine. She's amazing. She has so many things that she has planned for the county. So it's wonderful.
Indeed, the chamber's so important. I spoke at the Hispanic Chamber in Savannah. They had an event last Friday. I was there speaking for that. I just spoke recently at the Georgia Chamber's Board of Governors event, just updating them. How important is the chamber to businesses in Lincoln County and Lincolnton?
Well, we're considered a rural county in Georgia, so we're actually considered a rural county. But with all of our small businesses, and then they're starting to blossom. We have a lot of home-based businesses, whether they're lawyers, whether they're so. We have one that's called the Georgia Girl Social Club. It sounds, social, but it's a nonprofit organization of a collection of people that actually go out and help the disabled or underprivileged if they need help, their home being cleaned, they need their house being painted, the roof being redone, and then also, then they dance and celebrate afterward. But it's just the community is a multicultural community that comes together. Through all those riots and everything, we did not see that here. It was a very peaceful parade that we've had. The community comes together. Football. This is a big football town. There's actually high school football stadium seats that are actually season tickets that families pay for. And they come, and yes, people come from all over to see our high school football games. And when the masks were still optional, when they first, we were elbow to elbow maskless, and our rates on the COVID are the lowest in Georgia, one of the lowest. So we, I guess, herd immunity, but we are a football town, but there are many other sports, the soccer, there's cross country, golf. We're starting to bring back golf into the middle school, even as young as middle school. A lot of people don't realize we have one high school, one middle school, one elementary school, but a lot of the draw for even Columbia County, they are coming here just for our schooling system. Where the because we're above the dam, the Broad River CSRA area, they don't really want to claim Lincoln County because we actually outscore Columbia County in the state on our school testing and everything. So we're sort of a hidden gem. My daughter's in middle school and she's in junior beta, and we just had the award ceremony, and I did not know, the principal had announced that actually our class for just middle school, just the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, 40% of the class of the students are straight A students that are in junior beta, who are recognized nationally. So it's we have a wonderful special needs, additional extended schooling for children that need that more one-on-one attention or smaller classroom sizes. And there was a mom that's a friend of mine that she said she left Columbia County to come here because her child was just a number. And here he's getting all the care he wants. He now has a driver's license. He's actually pursuing higher education. He has a job as a busboy. And so it's just the community comes together. We have a Mexican restaurant, Chinese restaurant. We're blossoming. It, of course, barbecue. Barbecue is huge on the weekends. We are big on barbecue. Willie Max is another place that's on the lake that is, because this is a core lake, anything that gets close to the lake, you have to get permission from the Corps of Engineers to even exist and what you do, because they want to keep as much of the natural preservation as possible, but still help the community as much as possible. With what we had mentioned earlier, there's a 600 miles of freshwater shoreline that just touches Lincoln County. So Clarks Hill Lake is what the Georgians call the same lake that South Carolina, which is 10 minutes away from McCormick, South Carolina, where South Carolina calls the same lake Lake Strom Thurmond. So often people are confused thinking it's two different lakes. It's actually the same lake.
Different shorelines.
Yes. And so it's a Corps of Engineer lake because it was originally a valley that was flooded in order for it to not flood the lower area of Augusta. So that way they could develop their portion. So we gain a lake and they gain more land.
More usable land.
But we do have 164,000 acres of beautiful green wooded area, and currently only less than 10,000 population here. So we have room to grow.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you for being on with us today on Community Focus. And I've got to get out there. And one, I want to check out these EV sites that y'all want. So I'm going to get Faith to get me in out there so I can try to help y'all get some chargers. I just helped Tybee Island get some chargers. They didn't have any.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Now, we do have some events coming up. Of course, we just finished our two nationally acclaimed bluegrass festivals. We've got the Little Roy and Lizzie show that's usually always in April. And then we have the Jeff and Sherry Easter Music and Gospel Festival that actually just finished in May. So upcoming, we have our gala. That's just a chamber gala for our small businesses that are chamber members. We're going to have it at the Helios Equine Rehabilitation Center. And a lot of people aren't familiar with that. But when you have thoroughbreds, racing thoroughbreds, and they get injured, the rehab center is here. They're helicoptered in and they go through this so that way they can go back. Yes, and they do. And
I'm going with you when you go visit, and I will be there. And you can just pick me up when you leave.
What's the date on that? What's the date on that chamber gala?
I think we're going to move it to a Wednesday because, again, as a lake town, we had a little pushback on a lot of families saying, I'm going on vacation. I really don't want to go to, even if it's a dinner, I really want to spend time with my family on the lake. And so the town really shuts down for the weekend pretty much because everyone's out on the water. Restaurants do fantastic, but yeah, everyone else is out on the water on the lake. I think I forwarded a video that you can find on our webpage that if you wanted to see it was just a fun video that the chamber had done and we released it at the beginning of this year that you can share. The next event is the first.
Let's see if I can get over there for the gala. I may have to do that. Let's see if it works with my schedule. So,
and then the 1st of July is our fireworks. Friday, the 1st of July, and that'll be at Cherokee Recreation Park, which is one of our Georgia freshwater campgrounds. But that's a day camp. Hello, Mr. Butler.
Fireworks are going to be that night of July 1st.
Yes, we had to plan around competing fireworks. We have fireworks. The 2nd will be at Raysville Marina. The 3rd will be Washington, Georgia. The 4th, of course, you have in Evans. And then, and believe it or not, the day before the 1st, so the 30th of June, will be Fort Gordon's fireworks. So we all tried to space everything out in the community so everybody loves their fireworks, so that way they can travel.
Wait, so the military base is doing their fireworks in June 30th. Instead of on the 4th of July.
Well, Augusta does downtown on the Riverwalk. They do theirs usually on the 4th. But that's like an hour and a half drive for anyone that lives in Lincoln County.
Right.
And actually, now that they've opened Gate 6, it is, I believe, about 25 minutes to get to Fort Gordon from Lincoln County.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Gate 6 is almost Harlem, Georgia.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Wendy, thank you for your leadership there. And the chambers are so important across our state. We really appreciate you being on with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner Eccles. Thank you, Ms. Faith.
Thank you, Wendy.
All right, Faith, we've got Richard Butler today, and you're going to interview him about his good work.
Yeah, so Richard Butler is with Comfort in the Storm. And Richard, just tell us a little bit about what you all do and the people groups that you serve.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Commissioner Faith. I appreciate it greatly. What we do is two-pronged. So we'll start with, and the reason I'm starting with this is where we began, is child sexual abuse. Our daughter was a victim of child sexual abuse as a teenager, and in going through the process with her, we found that it was very difficult to find services and figure out what the process was. So as my wife and I went through that, we decided that we wanted to help other parents and other families that went through something similar. And as we started our education on this journey, we realized that prevention was key. But after prevention, also just awareness, making the community and the families aware of the pervasiveness of it and exactly what the predators of children, what it looks like, because we were talking stranger danger at kids. We realize stranger danger is not actually, the number one cause of, or the number one predator is a white van moving down the street. It's someone you're familiar with.
Someone you trust.
Yes, someone you love, know, and trust are typically what it is. Someone who makes themselves available to the family and you trust. Exactly. Thank you, Faith. So from there, we realized that we also had to work with the businesses in the community and start educating the businesses and making sure their business model and their practices, particularly youth servicing organizations like the Boys and Girls Clubs, the YMCAs, Parks and Recreation, that they had a business model where they were set up to protect children, and they had policies in place to where they didn't have blind spots, if you will, for when the children are in their care. So we started down that road. And again, as we did more education, we learned there was a huge connection between children who are sexually abused and human trafficking, sex trafficking, particularly here in Georgia. And a lot of people don't understand that Georgia is one of the main states for sex trafficking and human trafficking as well. And the reason a lot of people don't understand that, but part of the reason that takes place is Georgia is uniquely situated where we have Hartsfield-Jackson, the largest airport. We have highways and byways that run from east to west coast and from the tip of Florida or from the base of Florida into Canada. And then we also have a port access to the ocean. So we have so many avenues to where people can get their hands on children and take them out of the area immediately, or traffickers can come into the area for human sex trafficking, particularly of the children. And Super Bowl Sunday is always a huge event in Georgia, particularly in the Atlanta area, for traffickers. They fly in for children from all over the world, for our children, and then they fly back home. So what we've done is we're making our community aware of what's happening, and we're making sure they understand what the techniques, the tactics, and tools that the predators are using. And I really want to give a compliment Governor Kemp and his wife, Marty, because they've made this a priority of theirs. This is one of their key initiatives, human sex trafficking. And they have allocated the resources to really help us to combat this problem. And it's on everyone's radar. So it's very key to have that support, obviously, at the gubernatorial level to do what needs to be done. And that just brings awareness across the state to the pervasiveness of the situation. So what we do, we go into the communities, we talk to youth servicing organizations, we work with corporate partners, and we also talk to families. We go to local churches and synagogues and mosques, and we have those hard to have conversations about, who's after your children, what they're looking for, what children are most vulnerable. And it's not always what you think about vulnerability as the children that are most vulnerable. A large part of the problem is, children with low self-esteem are targets. Children that are detached from the crowd that want to isolate themselves, they can be a big target because, these people understand that they can find any niche to get in and have that conversation with the children. That's the starting point. And let's be clear, social media, that device the children keep in their hands, they use that to their advantage as well. This is a full-time job for those traffickers because it's big business. It's a lot of money, and they use every tool at their disposal to gain access to the children. So we go out and train them. And then we also reach out to the families once we identify the children, and we start trying to help them with resources in the community. We're not a direct service provider, but we are a resource. We help to find the services that they need. So here at Comfort in the Storm, if it's counseling, we try and recommend counselors in the area. If it is, if you want to file charges because you know who your perpetrator is, you want to file charges, we help you to file those charges and kind of walk the parents and the family through what that process is going to look like.
That's so valuable because we talked about yesterday. My background is in forensic interviewing. And that was one of the hardest things for me was doing the interview with that child, having them tell me their story. And we're working for criminal justice here, right? You're
Right.
you're working for that aspect, but then at the time we did not have good resources for aftercare, for counseling, and those connective services that those kids needed. They had complex trauma that needed to be addressed and wasn't always, either the family didn't have resources or they didn't have the ability to seek out those resources. And what you do is just so valuable in making those connections.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's like you said, the resources are key, because what happens is you start having generational cycles of abuse, because, the parent is not able to protect the child from further trafficking, because, they find themselves in those same environments, that same circle, and now their children's being trafficked. And it just, with the resources in place, you can put them in a more stable environment, an environment that's more healthy. And we can stop that from happening generation after generation. So it is really key that we have those resources in place for our survivors, and the resources to prevent it from happening going forward. So
thank you so much, Richard. And we have their website scrolling across the bottom if you want to learn more about Comfort in the Storm and how you can support financially or how you can get involved.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Faith, every time we talk about this, just add, that this is happening in our state. It's just a blight, human trafficking on our state. It's why we talk about it every single week, because we really we want every city in Georgia to know that it's happening, and it could be happening under their nose. And we also want people to know about the good organizations like Comfort in the Storm that they can support, because people always want to ask, what can I do? Well, what you can do is help guys like Richard and other organizations that spend every day, all day working on this. You can help them, be effective by helping them meet their budgets. And there's just a lot of expenses involved with running a nonprofit. So thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
And Christine, keep up the great work out there. I've learned something. I need to get my shovel, Faith, and head to the dig. We have some of those black stones there. It's you've heard the gold rush. Well, this is different. This is the
black quartz rush.
Black quartz rush in Lincolnton, Georgia. Well, y'all.
Yep.
Wonderful rest of the week and weekend. We want to thank everyone for being on Community Focus. Where are we going next, Faith? We're taking next week off, right?
Yeah, so the next week we will be in actually June 9th. So we're taking a couple of weeks off. We'll be in Bethlehem. So closer to your area there, Commissioner. And then June 23rd, so we'll skip another week. We will be in Augusta. During the summer, we'll be on some weeks and off some weeks just because of scheduling. Summer is difficult to schedule.
All right, y'all. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend.